Seated a quorum for the committee meeting. We'll call this meeting to order. The item we have on the agenda this afternoon, House Bill 745, LC 400990. Is that right, Chairman Earhart? That's right. This is your bill. You have the floor. And let me just ask, the committee members have anything that we need to get to before we get to Chairman Earhart? I didn't think so. Chairman Earhart. I'm going to get you there. Your witness. Try that.
Oh, is that on? There it goes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. I appreciate you taking the time to look at House Bill 745. This is actually the third time in my career I have carried one of these pieces of legislation. This is a generally we've done it every 3 years. This year I asked them to do 5 years so I don't ever have to carry it again. It's an important piece of legislation. This is something that if you budget for your businesses or that type of thing, you'll recognize this type of carry forward budgeting. Particularly poignant to me with respect to state budgeting or administrative budgeting for state agencies or federal agencies. The old use it or lose it type of expenditure that happens at the end of the year many times generally results in, as far as I was concerned, poor decision making and that type of thing. This is a vehicle to allow us to do a more rational, in my mind, approach to our budgets. What the carry forward proposes to do, and what it's done since 2003, is authorizes the carry forward of the following funds. First, tuition funds. It allows 3% on the Board of Regents and 15% at TCSG percent. Obviously not all, but just those percentages. It allows it for indirect cost recovery. This is unspent direct cost recovery funds. These are funds from federal sponsoring agencies, effectively. The technology fee and the departmental sales and service. So it also puts together an effort on the write-off of uncollectible accounts receivable up to $3,000. It's, again, an incentive to get after those accounts receivable on our campuses. Mr. Chairman, that's what this does. It's generally a non-controversial piece of legislation. I've carried a lot of controversial things with the Board of Regents. There's obviously some controversial issues that I've been a part of this year with respect to the Regents system and other things, but this is not one of them generally. But that's pretty much the entirety of the bill. I'm certainly willing to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Thank you. I'm 9% sure we'll be able to move ahead. I'm just kidding. Are there questions? There are questions? Did you have somebody that wanted to speak to the bill? I know Ms. Nichols was here. I don't think any of them. I don't see anybody on the sign-up sheet. Okay, that's fine. I just didn't know. At one time, you had said, I think it was perhaps when you were going to have a conflict that they would be.
They were, but okay. Since I was able to get here, I appreciate that. And with Representative Harrell stalking me at every committee meeting I go to, I thought I'd show up.
I understand. Well, if there are no questions on the bill, as I told the chairman, I want to keep it over till next week just so we can look at it as a normal policy. But please, let's ask the gentleman the questions, because I think he may have a conflict next week. I do have a conflict next week. So when we bring it back up, I just want to make sure, as a policy of this committee, we're going to hear things twice unless there's just an emergent situation. And I think the chairman's fine if we can get it out for him. But the chairman may not be here next week. It's no disrespect to the committee. But if you have a question, now's the time. Question? Anybody? I'm trying to drag them out for you, Mr. Chairman. Look up. Well, I've got you at least one. I didn't. You came all the way over here. We wanted you to have something to talk about. Okay. I don't see Chairman Chokas. Is that you? 29? It
is,
yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman Earhart, how many times have you carried this legislation? You said it earlier.
This is the third.
Third time. Thank you. So it's nothing new.
No, sir.
Thank you.
Chairman Earhart, I see no further questions. We'll have this up at 2 o'clock next Wednesday, and if there's appears any problem for that, you'll know it, but I don't see that there would be one.
Thank you very much,
and
Mr.
just
Chairman.
by policy, we'll get that out for you.
I do appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, do anyone have further comments, questions before this morning, this afternoon, I guess it is by now, for further business before the committee? Any further? Hearing none, if there's not an objection, we'll stand adjourned. That objection, we are adjourned.